Oh, hey, you guys are back. Hey, welcome back to Math Quiz. Hey, listen, obviously you've read the title, Factoring Quadratics Completely Using Diamond Problems, which also known as the X pattern right here, and probably something else another teacher may have come up with. All right, so in the last video, part 1, I showed you how to use the generic rectangles. So I'm going to use it here once to show you, once again, to catch you up on generic rectangles, and I'll show you how I can get the same answer using the X pattern. All right, so let's get started with the generic rectangle. So first, I got my first value here of 12x squared, my last value of 2. Why am I looking at those? Because those have to go in these slots right here, 12x squared, and this is a positive 2. My question is now, what length times width here will give me 12? Well, all my factors of 12 are 3 and 4, 6 and 1, 12 and 1. All right, and looks like that's about it. All right, so which one should I use? Well, try to use the smallest ones. Yeah, try to use the smallest ones because we're trying to factor, right? I mean, it looks like maybe 6 and 1 and 3 and 4 are good possibilities. Whenever I get those two, I'm just going to go with the 3 and 4. So let's do 3 here, 3x, and 4x. I probably should have switched them. I always do the higher number. It doesn't matter, though. So I got 3 times 4, and that's 12. X times x gives me x squared. Excellent. Now, how do I get that 2? That means they multiplied something up here times something up here to get that 2. Well, simply probably 1 times 2, right? 1 times 2 equals 2. That makes sense. Okay, I already see a mistake. Not a mistake, but I already see that these wings here are going to be my x's, right? How do I get an x there? And it needs to equal a negative 10x. Well, if I have all positive numbers out here, there's going to be nothing I can multiply to get a negative. So let's just go through the process to see what we come up with. We get this 3 times that 2 is going to give me 6x. And then that 1 times that 4 is going to give me 4x. Now notice 4 plus 6 gives me 10, but it doesn't give me negative 10. So I know that's not it. It needs to be negative 10. So the question is, what can I change? Well, I multiply the 1 and the 4. I multiply the 3 and the 2. So maybe if I make the 2 negative, this one is going to end up negative. And I have to have it positive, so I can't do that one. So maybe if I do the 1 as negative, so no, that's still going to give me a negative 2. Excuse me. I'm getting ahead of myself here. So, excuse me, can I make the 4 negative? So 3 times 4 gives me negative 4, and 3 times 2, so maybe I can make both of these negative, right? 3 times negative 3x times negative 4x gives me a positive 12x, and a negative 3x times a 2x gives me a negative 6x. And then a positive 1 times a negative 4x gives me a negative 4x. Now I have my 10. You guys see that? All right, there we go. Obviously, what's going to benefit you is knowing your multiplication facts. Otherwise, you're going to be sitting there punching numbers. All right, so what do we have here so far? Well, we have this. The length and width are out here. So it's already factored. I have negative 3x plus 1. That I got from here. And this negative 4x plus 2 is my other one. Negative 4x plus 2. And that's what I get there. All right? Makes sense? I hope so. Now, let's see how to use this X pattern to solve the same problem. Now, this time, I'm going to take my leading coefficient, which is the first coefficient, and multiply it times my constant, the very last number. So 12 times 2. That's going to give me a positive 24, and it's 24x squared. The middle number is the one that goes down here, negative 10x. Now the same thing with these two side numbers. We call it our wings. We're going to try to see what we can multiply to equal 24, and at the same time, what can we those same two numbers have to be added to equal negative 10. So again, factors of 24, 12 times 2, 6 times 4, and 24 times 1, 3 times 8. Ooh, excuse me. I'm writing all over the place. Let's see if I can erase. There we go. All right. So it looks like that's it. Now the question is, which ones total up to 10? Well, these two down here do not total up to 10. Those two will total up to 10. The 6 and the 4. Actually, I like the 6 and the 4. Actually, I like the 12 and the 2. I like both of them. But it's only going to work with the 6 and the 4. All right, just so you can see what I'm thinking, it's negative 6 and negative 4. These are my x's now, all right? The negative 6, negative 4. If I add them up, I get negative 10. If I multiply them, I get a positive 24. So it looks like it's 6 and 4. Now, once I'm done filling this up using the x pattern, I go back to my leading coefficient, and I'm going to divide them by 12. So here, I'm going to divide this by 12 and this by 12 because that's my leading coefficient. My leading coefficient was 10, then I divide by 10, whatever it is. Make sense? Now, let's simplify it. 6 divided by 12. Notice my 6 is negative. I understand that as long as one of my digits is negative, the whole fraction is negative. I don't really want you to look at this as a fraction. I want you to look at it as two individual numbers. So if that negative sign is on the 6, keep it on the 6. I'll show you why in a minute. So that 6 now is going to become a 1. So that's negative 1. And then on the bottom, we get 2. So this is the final answer that I'm focused on. Let's simplify this one. Here, pull out a 4. And again, the negative is on top. That's a negative 1. And then on the bottom is going to be a 3. Okay? So 3 times 4 is 12, and 4 times 4, or 1 times 4 is 4. Okay. Now I am done with my answers. I'm going to put it in my parentheses here. And I want you to really pay attention here, right? This is where it takes a turn. The bottom number here, the 2, that's my leading coefficient. So it's going to go in the front here, 2. But remember, those are my x's, so that's a 2x. Because initially that was a 6x, so that's my 2x. The top number, the minus 1, that's what it is. The negative 1 becomes a minus 1. Here on this next one, it's a 3. So I have 3x. And at the top, I have a minus 1 as well. Now, I'm done simplifying. Ta-da! What? You're saying I got two different answers? What? Did I do it? Oh my gosh, did I do it wrong? Of course not! There are two different answers. They're actually equivalent. So this is what I want to show you, how to simplify it all the way. So why are there two different answers? Well, if you look at the original equation here, right? The original equation, they all have a factor in common. What factor is that? 2, right? So let me scroll up a bit. What is that? 12, 10, and 2. So if I had 12x squared minus 10x plus 2, and I pulled out a 2 out of each one, I would be left with 6x squared minus 5x plus 1. That 2 would be out here, the 2 that I pulled out. All right. So here, if I went ahead and factor these out, look at the values here. Okay. I'm going to end up with my same answer here. So this, if I did this, this would be what I would end up using right here into my generic rectangle or to my X pattern right here. That's what you want to use. And then again, you would end up with this answer here. Generic rectangle, you would use this. This value as well, because those are all factors that give me my 12, and my 10. Okay? Gives me my whole surface area. If that makes sense? Yes? No? Confused? All right? Don't worry. You tend to be a little confused in the beginning, but just understand that these are the factors of my entire surface area. The sum of my surface area. There you go. The sum of my surface area, because this surface area equals 12x squared. This one equals negative 6x. This one equals 2. This one equals negative 4x. Those are all surface areas. And this is the sum of all the surface areas. Does that make sense? Hope it does. Stay with me, though. All right. So I want you to know that when you look at the sum of the surface area and it looks like they all have a common factor, that means there are two possible answers. Okay? Two answers, not two possible answers. There are two answers to it. Now, understand that right now, all we're doing is factoring. We're not even simplifying all the way. So once we simplify all the way and find the value of x, then you'll see that both of these are equal. I'll get the same value for x on either one. All right? We're not there yet. I'm taking you step by step, so you know what? There's going to be a part 3. All right. So let's move on. Let's look at this next one. On this next one, I want you to keep in mind what I just told you here about the pulling out the common factor. And in fact, why don't we solve it that way? And I'll use the X pattern. Let's go. Hey, are you writing these down? These are excellent notes. If you haven't already, pause it. Go back and write all these notes down. Make additional notes. Write anything you need here. How did you get the 24? Oh, I multiplied the 2 and the 12. Things like that to help you remember. All right, here we go. So as you can see, I have a 10x squared, a 25, and a negative 15. Just focus on the 10, 25, and 15. Pretty simple. What do they have in common? A 5. All right, let's pull out the 5. It's going to look like this. Actually, you know what? Let's use a different color. I like orange. So it's not my favorite color, though. Here we go. I'm pulling out the 5. That means what stays inside. If out of the 10 I pull out a 5, we're talking about the factors now. I'm left with the 2, right? Because 2 times 5 is 10. And then just put the x squared next to it. Next, we have the 25. The 25 pull out a 5, you're left with the 5. And then put the x next to it because that's what they have. And the last one, the 15, pull out a 5, and you're left with the 3. All right? So now I got 2x squared plus 5x minus 3. Hey, now that I got smaller numbers, it's going to be a lot easier to simplify right here. Here we go. All right. So here we go again. 2, the leading coefficient, 2 now, times the negative 3 is going to give me negative 6. And that's my x squared. My middle term is a 5x. And now I got to find my wings. Wings, so we can fly. You know what? This is pretty simple. Since they both have to add to give me 5, it looks like it's going to be a 6 and a 1. Now, I have to end up with a positive 5, so that means the 1 has to be negative. 6 times negative 1 is negative 6, and 6 plus a negative 1 gives me a positive 5. Simple enough. Now, I'm going to divide each one of these wings by my leading coefficient, which is 2. So, divide this by 2, divide this by 2. What do we get here? On this side, they're all positive, so 6 divided by 2 is 3. That means 3 over 1 is the same thing. And on here, well, it's already simplified. That's as far as you can simplify. So negative 1 over 2. So what do we end up with? We end up with, remember, the denominator is what goes in the front, and that's a 1. And those are my x's. So that's a 1x, and that's a positive 3. And here, I have a positive 2. And, positive 2x, and that's a negative 1. All right? That's what I end up with. Now, am I done? Don't forget, we pulled out a 5 right here. We didn't cancel it. There's no such thing as canceling, by the way, in math. There's no such thing as canceling, so we didn't cancel it. We didn't make it disappear. So that means we need to bring this guy back. Hey, oh my God. You know what? Every now and then it does that when my battery's low. Stop it. Stop it. For real. It gets annoying. It's like one of those kids that won't stop talking. Just, come on, I told you to stop talking. Take a nap. All right, here we go. So this is what I was trying to do. And here we go. All right. That right there, that whole thing is my final answer. Completely factoring my quadratic expression. Sound good? Hey, I hope you wrote down these notes. Hey, but we're not completely done yet. I got a surprise for you. I got a challenge problem. Yes. Look at it carefully, people. Look at it, look at it, look at it. You know what? I wasn't going to solve this for you. I don't want to solve this for you. I just want to leave it here for you. You know what? Yes. I'm going to leave it here for you. And I want you to simplify it. Use the same rules as we used right here where we pulled out a common factor of 5 and we ended up with this. And this is what we use for this. I'll give you one clue. Notice everybody has x's, right? We all have x's. And I'm not talking about my ex from Texas or something like that, right? Anyway, focus. So that means whatever number you pull out, you're going to pull out an x as well. And then whatever's left, use it to use the x pattern. And listen to me carefully. I want you to post your answer down below. What is your answer? Did you figure it out? And I'll let you know. You know, I reply to every comment. I'll let you know if you got it right. All right? Hey, thank you guys so much for watching. If you got value out of this, please hit the like and subscribe button. All right? And I'll see you next time on Math Quiz. Goodbye.